Okay, we're recording.
Okay. So, thank you all for tuning in today to this interaction with the Pleiadian Council, and I'm excited to continue to bring this about. Today we're at a beautiful point in the cycle, the quarter moon, which is often not as considered as the full moon, but we have the moon kind of in the same position as Jupiter and Pluto, so there is this kind of big connection to some of the bigger themes that are playing out right now. And in that sign, Capricorn, exciting. So 1 week till the full moon, and Pleiadian Council will come through today, and you can ask any questions that come up for you, and I will simply step aside and let them come through. And thanks again for tuning in. Hello, and we say good day to each and every one of you this moment of your time. It is our great pleasure to always connect with you. As the Pleiadian Council, we speak on behalf of the Galactic Alliance and on behalf of many of the guides and spiritual beings working with your planet in this great process now. It is a wondrous opportunity every time you allow these connections, these conversations to emerge, for it allows all that is to expand through this connection and this exchange of frequency. And it as well is a wonderful way that we get to explore and connect deeper. And for this, we are very appreciative. Now, today, we hope to illuminate any ideas and themes that you are unraveling. And for you in the collective right now, as you know, with this coronavirus, COVID-19, your whole planet is going through a great process of resetting, which we have spoken to from different angles over the past couple of weeks. And today, we want to bring your awareness to a more multi-dimensional perspective, allowing you to see that this is a conglomeration of parallel realities. And now each and every one of you, through the choices you make, through your thoughts, through your actions, through the frequency that you align with, determine where you end up, which parallel reality you bring yourself into in the so-called future. Those of you who can use your imagination and tap into this multidimensional reality can see the many different potential timelines ahead of you. And the truth is they are always shifting, they are always changing. The energy that you put out determines the reality that comes back for you. And so while many of you may be seeking the different ideas to describe what is occurring out there for you as a planet, we want you to question more. What can you do with the information at hand? How does that information make you feel? And what do you prefer to be true? If you live continuously preparing for the worst, the frequency you put out then attracts to you an earth plane that is corresponding, is a resonant frequency with the energy you've been putting out. And if you use your time to continue to follow your passion, to continue to live what brings the greatest expansion and connection in your own heart center, you will attract a resonant matching frequency of an earth of that nature. And we encourage you to really be open, optimistic, grateful in these times, to view your belief systems and shift through them until you can see the light of what is occurring, why this needs to occur for a greater purpose. Because every soul who is here has agreed to what is occurring, has agreed to incarnate into this regardless of whatever challenge it may bring for you, there is a higher purpose that is really to bring about deconstruction of the new earth in more pronounced ways. And so for many of your years now, so many of you have gotten in touch with your higher selves, have gotten in touch with entities like ourselves, have gotten in touch with this sense that there is a shift taking place on your planet, and you are to live in a new way, and you are to build the foundation for that. And now you can see a more clear division between the old earth and the new earth. So you must not sort of bring scorn or worry or confusion when you view the old earth, when you view the systems that oppress some and uplift others, when you view the forces that control and limit and restrict freedom. Understand that you either feed your energy into that, or you can feed your energy into building a new earth, building a world that values everyone's freedom, that sees every person as having great and enormous gifts, that understands that humans are but created from stars. And through that, you all each have your own unique light. In the new world, the light in all is seen, and everyone is encouraged to bring the best out in each other. And everyone is so willing to create and share from their own authentic expression what they can give, what they can hold space for others. And so there are many ways that you can express creating this new earth, though you first must bring yourself out of any conditioned behaviors that are not representative of your truest joy and passion. You must learn how to, when you are feeling dissonant frequencies, dissonant emotions, to bring yourself deeper and understand what belief lies at the core. What are you trying to prove about yourself? What are you trying to hold on to? And if you allowed yourself to see the light and freedom that is really your divine birthright, and you accepted it and you embraced it, would you still be making the same choices? Would you still be using your energy in the same way? And when you can snap out of those old thought patterns that the old world has imposed upon everyone, and you can give them back to that old world while creating the new one, your frequency in turn shifts to, in a way, solidify that future timeline of Earth as your reality and as the reality for those around you in your life. And this will allow for a grand liberation for all of you. And it is first an internal liberation, because we understand that so many of you are now unable to move, that you are being forced to spend so much time with yourself, that there is not so much you can do, or so it seems. Yet really, this is the most powerful opportunity for you to get in deeper touch with yourself, for you all to come to witness yourself. What happens when you allow the stillness to settle? What happens when there is really nothing moving around you and you really get in touch with those core beliefs that are always running in your consciousness? this is an opportunity to dismantle them and to see yourself in a new light. And as you do that, your whole planet will see itself, themselves rather, in a new light. So we hope this introduction brings a great inspiration for you to allow to surface some of those deeper beliefs, some of those deeper holding patterns that you are ready to free yourself from. And we will continue with this sharing in whatever way you wish and desire. So you may all begin with your questions, and we will do our best to illuminate, to reflect, to share in ways that uplift and inspire you even more.
So, hi, thank you so much, Pleiadians. This is Sarah. I just have a little housekeeping things to announce for people. So what we'd love is if you use your raise your hand function. That way we can kind of see the order of the questions, and then I'll just call your name and you can go ahead and unmute yourself. And the other thing is, if you're unable to speak through a microphone for some reason, please use the Q&A function, which is at the bottom of your screen, and you can type in your question there, and I will make sure and get to that. Okay, so it looks like our first hand raised here. Let me just promote everyone to panelist. Okay, so Tina, I just promoted you to panelist. You should have control of your video and your microphone. And it looks like, let's look at the hand raises. We've got, let's start with Huawei. Am I saying that right? Huawei, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay, they're muted and their video's off. So let's see if I can help with this. Okay, so Huawei, are you there? Oh, I bet you they have the Q&A. I don't see a microphone there. It just says hello. Do you want to type your question, Huawei, so we can go ahead and answer it? Open one question. Okay, I just see him saying Huawei. It looks like we're not having contact with this person. Let me try and unmute them. Here we go. It's not unmuting. Okay, so there's nothing I can do.
Does anyone else have a
Denise,
question in the meantime?
Denise, you are next.
Yes.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, sweetie.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Pleiadian Council. I just adjusting to this new reality that my father passed away 2 weeks ago, and I have a lot of feelings I don't even know how to deal with right now. I feel like I wish I had more time with him to do some, fun things like a road trip or something. I feel bad that he's gone, and I'm not sure why he chose to leave at this time. I remember you said that it was might have been easier for him to leave now than to go through this transformation on the planet. I wonder what it might have been if he had stayed. I also am just feeling like I'm wondering what this means for my life now. It feels rather lonely. I'm here by myself, and it's a blessing that I have this house to myself. And it's, yeah, I don't have my parents. I don't have immediate family of my own. So I wonder what you can tell me to help me adjust to this new reality, and if you can kind of highlight the good, the blessings in this, and and maybe why the other timeline didn't materialize of my dad staying. Thank you.
Yes. Well, you are here to realize that you are never alone. So this is a grand shift happening for you now. And as we know you, we understand there are many connections available for you to connect with guides, to connect with spiritual beings that can support you. And you only seem to remember this connection part of the time. Now, when you open up to this higher level of support, you will always be able to maintain a greater sense of connection. And in the meantime, it is also important that you realize that you are, in a way, choosing to be alone in a human realm as well. For there are so many around you who can connect with you, not necessarily physically close to you, but when you reach out to others and you get support and maintain connection, that loneliness will transform as well. Now, behind loneliness, there is sometimes an inner sense of inadequacy or a sort of self-doubting belief that keeps one from reaching out. And in the case that there are certain belief systems of this nature, you must, in a way, probe at them and shift your attitude to understand that when you make connection with others around you, you in turn bring great gifts. And in creating connection, both again at first to those higher realms to receive that guidance, and to those around you, fellow humans, you will find greater support. Can you play with that before we speak on the other parts of this idea?
Yes.
So it is natural to continue through processes of grieving. And within that grief, you may find your father as one of those first spirits that allows you to feel the presence of multidimensional beings around you. Understand that while he is not in his body, in other ways he is closer to you now than he was before. For his energy is freed from form and can communicate with you in so many ways. And his presence is here with you even now today. And he is nudging to us to affirm his great love for you and affirm to you that this is the most divine timing. And of course, there are many ways that you can look at why this is right to occur at this time. We have already shared with you a few of them, though you must, in a way, believe them, and you must create your own evidence to have that optimistic perspective. Because it is you that creates your experience of reality. And we cannot tell you anything about why this has happened that will allow you to sink into acceptance more than you can create evidence yourself. You can look for reasons why this is really something that had to occur this way and can be used for your benefit. This isn't to say there is not great pain and loss, and it is okay for that pain to be there. Though again, you may remember, as we have spoken to you before, there can be tendencies to look to timelines that are inaccessible. And when you do this, you actually are dissociating from reality, and you are not setting yourself up to manifest clearly. Because of course, as there are infinite timelines of Earth, you can tap into any other probability when you allow your imagination to open, when you allow those frequencies to communicate with you. You can see beyond this one timeline. Yet not all of those timelines you can actually shift into with all of yourself. And when you choose to examine and look at those timelines, you often create a gap within yourself. And you also distance yourself from the positive change that is actually accessible. So rather than looking into those other timelines, ask the energy of your father's soul himself to be present with you and feel that deeper level of unconditional love that channels through to you from him, and allow that to be the medicine for this wound, and know that everything is in its perfect place. And you can use this sense of aloneness now to deepen in your connection with those you love, and to deepen in your ability to receive energy from these higher spiritual realms, for they are always with you, and you are very capable of receiving that frequency.
Great. Are you complete, Denise?
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. Thank you. And I guess now, what are the blessings that I can, that this is bringing me to now? I know I've inherited now. This is a big blessing.
Yes.
What are the blessings I can create now that the shift has taken?
Well, with that inheritance, you really have a very malleable energy that you can turn into anything you wish. So, in a sense, you are being given a greater sense of freedom and more ability to choose your path. And we cannot really answer this question in the specific way that some part of you may be seeking right now, because the greatest blessing will come when you use this to get in touch with yourself in a very deep way and continue to ask in that connection with yourself, if I could do anything at all, if everything was potential for me, what would I be doing? Where would I be putting my energy? What would be illuminating in me the greatest love and joy? And this is something that you must discover for yourself. And when you find it, and when your heart lights up in that way, that you feel with absolute 100% certainty that the path you see before you is the path of your truest heart's desire, then you will know, and the blessing will be clear, and you'll be able to walk forward with love and joy.
Thank you. If there's anything else you want to tell me, I'm open to hear it. And thank you very much for everything you've told me.
Oh, that is all for now. But we do love you very much. And we and many others are there to open to connection and contact with you when you are ready. And yes, continue to cultivate that sense of connection. And so much more love will blossom and bloom through you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Manuela, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, I have tons of questions in my head, so it's been difficult to choose one.
All right.
But I think I'm gonna choose the healthy one. It's
All right.
about my weight. and about some diseases that I think I'm having, but I don't really understand. I had a treatment, and then I got pregnant. It all go away, and now it came back. So, is this something that is treatable by medicine, or is this something that has affected my other bodies, and I need to treat them there before?
What are you asking about specifically? An issue with weight?
Uh, the issue with weight, I think
Yes.
it's not so
All right.
important as the other issue. I'm having, I don't know what to call this. It's something on my right chakra. I don't know what to call it, but it keeps coming. I do treatments and it keeps coming. So there must be
And
something else.
yes, what sort of symptoms are you having here?
It's scratching and it comes all the time.
Yes.
So I did all of the things that the doctor said, and then it comes back.
All right. So may we interpret your energy system?
Yes, please.
All right. So yes, your root chakra is in a state of great imbalance. And at a core level, it has to do with feeling safe, settled in your body, and connected to the earth. So the itching, the inability to sit in your own skin is, in a way, a manifestation of feeling unsettled from a deep-seated experience or circumstance or idea that you learned about yourself from childhood. And again, the weight also ties into what is occurring here in your root chakra. In a way, because you do not feel the natural support of the earth, you do not feel so held down here, you accumulate weight in order to both keep yourself stable and centered, and in a way to protect yourself from these outer circumstances that may be threatening. So there are many important treatments that may support you from many different methods, though first we will speak to the greater remedy in terms of how to actually rest into yourself, how to make the shift in your frequency that will allow these therapies to be effective. It is in learning to slow yourself down, in learning to actually drop into deeper connection with others, to make friends with your body, to enjoy being in your body. And the first step of that is accepting your body exactly as it is, to not make the irritation of your skin, the itching, the burning, or any of these sensations wrong. Understand that the more you resist them, the more they will continue. To not even make the weight or any other idea of your body wrong, you must understand that your body is doing this in cooperation with your soul. And this is just a part of the larger healing process. You can thank your body in the sense for bringing you these symptoms to show you how to naturally rest more into your body and how to become more grounded. So that first healthy attitude towards yourself and towards your body is key. And then from there, deepening in connection with others and even deepening in physical touch. Now, in moving forward with therapies, you may want to consider doing body work, any sort of energy work that involves touch. The most common in your world is Reiki. However, there are much more intricate and specific treatments that are similar that will serve you in bringing many of these emotions to the surface and releasing them. And then from there, you must also make some changes in your lifestyle and your diet to reduce inflammation. And of course, this all must take place gradually. So there's no need to rush it, though there is, over a period of time, the necessity to reduce that which you consume that may cause inflammation in your body. And doing some form of movement with your body and self-massage to nurture your body, and using very special treatments, oils on your body, especially calendula and rose oil on any areas where your skin is irritated, will support you in this healing process as well.
Oh, okay. Calendula. Okay. Can I go on, or?
Yes.
So the other one is about, since we're talking about people that passed, this is about my mother. I know they probably won't give me a straight answer about it, but I just wanted to know if my mother, if she is safe, if she's somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Every soul that leaves this physical reality reunites entirely with Source. And so the souls that leave are immersed in love and light. They ascend to a higher vibration, and they are also always accessible. You can meditate or light a candle or do something that matches your own personal beliefs and values in terms of creating a container that will allow you to connect with her spirit and invite her in, and her higher self may communicate deeper with you. Though as we feel her frequency, she simply wishes to communicate a very deep and great love for you and let you know that yes, everything is good and even better from where she is now.
Thank you. That's reassuring. So my other question is not about me, it's about my son.
All right.
I think he can see or maybe hear other forms, other spirits, not that they're well, how can I say, spirits.
Yes.
Well, is that true? I'm not sure if he can, but I think he can, and he's scared of that. He's
All right.
rather young. He's 5. How do I deal with it? How do I help him?
Well, you must first let him know that none of these spirits can actually harm him, and that there are, of course, realms of light and of dark that everyone can connect with. And when one is in a state of fear, one will attract more beings that match that frequency. When one opens up to higher degrees of love, they will attract beings that are matching that frequency. So in moments when he's afraid, together with him, you may want to develop strategies that can support him in finding greater peace and greater connection. Perhaps it is having a nightlight, or holding a crystal, or playing a certain song in the background while he goes off to sleep. Something that assures him that he is safe and loved.
Okay, I'll try some of those. I don't know. Can I continue, or maybe
I think that's enough.
Yes,
Do you
yes,
want to?
it's okay.
I think we should limit it to 2 questions because we do have quite a few people, but I want to check in with the Pleiadians and
Yeah,
see
no
what they
problem.
would
That's why I
prefer.
keep asking.
Does
All
that
right,
work?
Yes,
okay.
That is good for this person. We shall
Great.
move on. We thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. It's been great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela. And Ron, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you to the
Hello,
council.
yes.
And to Dante himself. So my question is layered.
All right.
My beloved departed the physical is now on the other side with me. I do not have direct communication, but I have comfort through the human faith, knowing he is there. Does not make this time any more easy. My question is around, frankly, my survival in the physical going forward financially. And this is very uncomfortable to step into this space because, well, for reasons you already know, but there's the duality of I know I'm okay and the universe provides, and the physical human experience of wow, money is suddenly very finite, and I'm not sure I'm what to do next to sometimes I have to reduce this to the simple in the human form. Do you hear my question properly?
We heard most of it.
Okay. Do you feel my question from my heart?
Yes.
Thank you.
So you are concerned for moving forward financially,
Yeah.
is the core of what we have heard. And there are many other frequencies moving as well. Do you have some sense of what you would prefer to do?
I think that's actually more to the question. I'm moving into new spaces. I'm moving
Yes.
into like most of us during this human time of quarantine, of virus, of awakening. My old method in the flesh of generating income have ceased. My own development spiritually feels like there's a massive disconnect going back to the old ways of making money and being able to flourish in this human physical world. So I guess I am asking counsel for guidance specific to my human experience of where I begin looking at myself to remunerate all that I can bring.
Well, the best thing to do is always to ask yourself, out of every option, out of everything you could do with your time and energy, what brings that greatest feeling of love and passion? And with that comes a greater sense of purpose. And the more time that you can spend in that frequency, the better. The more time you spend in that frequency that you feel when you are doing what you love, the more your energy raises and the more you become a match to more abundance, to more love, to more connection in the world around you. So in this time, the truth and reality is you are unable to work in so many senses. There's a great limitation. And when you dwell on the inability, when you keep asking yourself questions that there is no clear answer to, yet the question itself brings to life a greater anxiety, you aren't able to stay in that state of flow, in that state of true connection with your higher self. And so we cannot really tell you how the idea of abundance, or the idea of money rather, is going to manifest. Though we can say, when you stay in your preferred frequency, in your preferred state, by doing what you love, by staying connected to the people that you love, by creating from your heart, abundance will arise for you and will come to you. Now, one thing that we say to you, and we do say to everyone, because we know so many are in this similar circumstance right now, is also to shift your idea of abundance from meaning just money to meaning, well, all of the things that fulfill you in your life. And when you change that perspective, you can come to a greater sense of abundance. You can come to realize that in these changing times, there is this great awakening of love, and people will most likely, in the timelines we see, be more able and more willing to go out of their way to help others who don't have everything they need to be in abundance. But if you have, for today, a home and food and friends, we see you as very deeply abundant. Though many of you aren't able to feel and integrate that abundance because you keep seeking out into the future, making sure that what you have today is going to last, rather than trusting in this deeper level of knowing that if you lose what you have today, you will be in a new circumstance at that moment, and there will be a way to get what you need then. And all that you need comes to you in a clearer way when you truly allow yourself to relax and do what you love with what you have.
Okay. I hear that. I acknowledge
Yes.
all of it. I feel all of that. Forgive me if I say it feels very general. And I know Spirit does not always provide the specifics that is for me to discover.
Yes.
Is there any?
Well, there is also something to understand with this frequency of attraction.
Okay.
And it is to understand that when you are in a lower vibrational state, you can actually get specific. Because when you get very specific, you limit your ability to be open to everything that could come. When you try to narrow your focus, but you are not feeling trust, you may actually specify something that you aren't trusting, something that isn't really supporting you. So we start general until you can start to raise that emotional sense of love, that ability to feel and integrate what you, on some level, of course, know. When it moves beyond that sense of, yes, I know this, into a feeling of, that energy moves through my body. I can feel my heart open. I can feel myself allowing this trust to relax me. Then you can allow specific ideas to come through. Then you can focus all of this energy into those things that you are wanting. But when there is a negative bend to it, we will encourage you to become more general, to, in a way, allow vagueness to sort of let the details become irrelevant so that you can truly get in touch with those deeper frequencies in your heart.
Thank you. I hear and feel all of that. So my question now becomes, is there anything that, from the Spirit perspective, you desire me to know that I cannot access for myself at this moment?
in a similar way as we have spoken to somebody else earlier in the call, want you to allow yourself to be much more open to connection and contact at this time. And allow this to bring about a greater shift in how you define the purpose of life as well. When you can deepen into connection to the greater whole through connection with others and allow even more of that love in, you will open up to greater trust. And there is a great and grand shift in the way that you are doing things on the planet. There are many that are going to encounter very strong challenge. Though when you develop this ability to connect deeper with others, you will be able to attract what you need through those connections. Because again, none of you are separate beings. You are all part of a collective entity. And when you strengthen your ability to connect with every single member of that collective entity, you will realize that no one is actually responsible for meeting their own needs alone. That needs are something that you really need a whole collective in order to fulfill. So there are people in your life that you may feel love for, but don't go so deep with. When you allow your heart to open more and you reach out more, many powerful shifts can take place within you. And we understand that all of you are seeking to know what is coming. And all we can say is that you create what's coming, or you create your experience of it by how deeply you surrender and relax into love in the meantime. And we hope that you can feel in a deeper way your higher self's resonance with this message and rest into receiving the love that is really there for you. And that love, we promise, will translate into more abundance when you need it.
Message. Thank you. And I hear that I feel my own lack of reaching out. And I heard
Yes.
guest specifically. So we'll meditate on this.
Yes. And as you allow yourself to reach out and receive, there will be a greater transformation. You will be able to feel that which you know as more true. It will become a reality, and you will be very surprised and touched by all of the love that is there for you. So open yourself to receive, open yourself to receive, open yourself to receive. That is really the core of this message.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ron. Next, I want to ask Huawei's question. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He has several questions. I'm just going to kind of package the three that I can see here. So he wants to know how much healing he needs to do to align with the highest timeline. What are the predictions of like world government vaccine enslavement of the population from Pleiadians for that particular timeline, and how to shift to a better timeline, better probabilities?
All right. In a way, these are all the same question phrased differently. So I think we can work with this. So you, again, create your experience of reality. Now, you also align with the timeline that comes to you. And in order to align with a frequency, a timeline in which this does not become your reality, you simply must continue to live a life of love. Again, there's this formula: follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability without insisting on any particular outcome, and take this as far as you can, and you will raise your frequency. Now, in a sense, when you say, I don't want, I cannot handle, it would be terrible if there is continued martial law and there are enforced vaccines and there are this and that. You actually are not following the formula. To truly follow the formula, you must live every day as if it doesn't matter if there are enforced vaccines, if there is martial law, if you lose your rights. You must surrender and say, well, that may happen today, tomorrow, next week, in a month. And that state of surrender is actually your greatest protection. That great courage to do what you love in spite of what could potentially go wrong allows you to make the best of what you have. And again, it ties into something we were saying before. When you strengthen your ability to make connection with others and make connection with nature, make connection with parts of yourself and make connection with your guides, right here and now, you set yourself up to be in a higher frequency and a more aligned state when the shit hits the fan, so to speak. So, can we speak to if these things are really going to happen? Well, again, timelines are always shifting. We, from reading the current probabilities, will say that there is a 70% chance that in so many of these developed, in your vernacular, nations that are experiencing an issue with COVID-19 now, that these nations will continue their enforcements, their quarantine, their isolation into midsummer. In terms of the enforced vaccinations, there is a 40% chance that this will become mandatory in many places. Now, you must also open yourself to ways of working around that. And we understand that many of you have already found very elaborate or very simple ways of working around many of the forces that seek to control and limit you. Now, in a way, by focusing so much of your energy in these timelines, by reading about conspiracy theories that evoke a sense of fear, you must understand that when you invest your energy in that, you are actually investing your energy in that future. You are creating that future more powerfully by focusing on it. Understand that there is a natural part of the human ego that sees something shocking like this and almost wants it to be true to maintain a sense of rightness. I was right about all of the things that were going wrong, now they went wrong. I told you so. And you must really come to terms with this part of yourself and ask, is this part of me really loving? Is this part of me really courageous? Is this part of me really an embodiment of my higher self? Because what we will say to you about this part of you is no, it is not. This part of you is living in a very dualistic perspective of right and wrong. So you must really come to see all of those outer forces of negativity, of oppression, of subversion as yourself. You must see that you as a collective are all one. Your politicians are you. And the way they operate is under the same universal laws that you operate. And many of these fear-based perspectives and the ways that they rule your life and the ways that they then prove to be true operate from this perspective of separateness, which is inherently a fear-based perspective. Those people over there are going to do this to me and take my power from me. The more you tell yourself that story, the more you invite the very thing to happen. So understand your sovereignty, understand your power, understand that you have many choices and that there are many pathways that you can take. And all you have to do is read the probabilities of today and this coming week. What do you need to do in order to thrive today and for this coming short window of time? We say a week now because the changes occurring for you are so powerful that some monumental change could be popping up at any moment. But when you see here and now that you have what you need to make it through, and that you have all of this abundance of time and freedom to choose what you do with your energy, you can then tap into that frequency of love that will align you with the highest timeline. So we encourage all of you to, in a way, map out what would the best case scenario look like with all of the information that you have at your disposal now. What would the best case scenario look like for your future? And give yourself some time to play with that. Tap into the sort of whirling chaos that dismantles the old earth and the old systems that limit and oppress you. And see your own personal clearest pathway through that. What does that look like? And what are you doing with your time and your energy? Allow that permission slip to bring you fully into the present now so that you can do what you love unconditionally. That is how we would answer those questions.
Great. He also asked a little bit about the healing that he would need to do to bring his partner, his divine, I don't know, he said divine twin or soulmate,
All right.
into his life.
Well, one shift in the best way to attract this is, first of all, a shift in your attitude and your perspective. That this other is a twin is often language that people use when they are feeling they are incomplete in themselves. So you must be complete within yourself. And to be complete within yourself does not mean you have to be entirely healed. It does mean that you are accepting fully what is unhealed within you. And fully accepting what is unhealed within you means you do all that you can to improve it, though you are not making it wrong. You are not seeing yourself as less than because you still have to work out this kink in your belief systems or in your body or in your relationship skills. You are seeing yourself, in a sense, as perfect and complete as a flawed being. And this actually sets you up to heal in the quickest way. Because when you heal from a place of resisting what you are perceiving as wrong, you make what you perceive as wrong bigger and stronger. When you shift your attitude to perceive every flaw and every injury within yourself as a gift and as something that is teaching you how to support the collective in healing similar issues, similar frequencies, then you are, in a way, much more balanced. Now, speaking more specifically for you, as much of this is more general information for all of you in finding that sense of completion so that you can match with another complete being. We would also say, for you, it is again about allowing yourself to open to receive. Do you have limits on how much love you allow in? Do you have fears about what somebody may do when you start actively receiving their love? Do you have strong boundaries that are actually barriers that push people away? As we see your energy, there is a certain inability to let in degrees of love. And to shift this, we would actually invite you to see everything as love. To see every way that people interact with you as some expression of love. Whether you like what they are doing or not, understand that everything in this universe is made up of love. And everyone is a unique expression of love. Some are very distorted expressions of love, and some are very clear. There are almost no human expressions of this love that are completely undistorted. So it is okay for some of the love you receive to not come through in a way that is completely resonant for you or is completely pure. And when you can take in the love without taking the beliefs, the limitations, and the conditions that the person is also trying to give you, you allow yourself to be more open. You allow yourself to remain more connected. You can imagine as well the back side of your body, and particularly the back side of your heart chakra, as this place where you receive energy. How much of that do you receive? Is your back tense? Can you work on allowing your awareness to flood that back part of your body and feel all of your chakras as these gates where energies can flow into you? Making that a practice and allowing yourself to receive love from others and from the world around you will be another big part in this process.
Thank you so much. Alexandria, would you like to go ahead and unmute yourself? Do you want me to unmute you? Okay. It's not letting me unmute you. Maybe she doesn't have a microphone. I'll ask your question. She typed them in the chat. So, okay. So, looks like she has a question about her son. Let me just look for this. Okay. Looks like I have a question about, oh, she gave me a couple of questions. Okay. Normally I like the Q&A because it's a little bit easier than this. Okay. Okay, she has a question about her son and her son's illness. Can you answer? It looks like that's what you said, right? Is that you have a question about your son's illness. I don't know specifically what she's asking. Hold on, let me look a little bit more here. There you go. No, it's just about her son's illness. Can you comment about her son's illness?
One moment. Well, the greatest cure that comes through is actually as simple as water. You may want to check the quality of water you are drinking and that you are giving to your son. You may want to get more pure sources of water and perhaps water from a local spring, perhaps getting a water filtering system, or perhaps buying distilled water and supplementing some electrolytes will be helpful. Now, you can also infuse this water with a prayer and with loving energies. And this, in a way, will be a good foundation for this healing to occur. Now, this isn't enough, we would say. There are also experiences you must seek through that medical system and through more holistic doctors that we cannot really speak to without more information, though we do have the ability to sense there is a need for pure water, and that infusing that water with a high encoded love frequency by praying over it, by putting special crystals in it, by putting symbols or objects that represent that love to you and to him close by it, and holding that intention will be a powerful frequency shift. Now, as well, this illness is both something he brings in from a previous life, you could say, and plays out in this early chapter as a sort of way of purifying and allowing his soul to anchor himself in more. And it is also tied to something genetic that he is transmuting for your family line. So understand that he's a very sensitive one, and that energy of conflict and resentment, even when not directed towards him, can end up in his system. So in a way, the more you create a space of peace and calm in yourself, the more that energy will translate for him.
Great. And Simone, we're also going to come back to get that more information for Alexandria, but Simone, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
I believe I have.
Hello, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pleiadian Council. You've answered a lot of questions through the questions asked by others. I want to thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I don't normally feel angry and disgusted. And just a few weeks now, I've been feeling this strong, unnatural anger.
Yes.
Because of the state of the world and maybe the conflicting information that is going around, and I'm feeling anyway that is what's at the heart of my anger and disgust. I'm also very aware that a lot of that is internal, like the world is mirroring to me. Yet I work diligently on a daily basis to transmute these. Well, first of all, I feel them. I allow myself to feel them and to look into, where is that showing up in my life. But it's still 3 days ago I had, I don't know what you would call it. I'm a godsmack, literally. I cried for an hour, just uncontrollably, like a cleansing almost. And as my studies go, I understand again the connectedness of everything, but these feelings still pop up, and they're extremely strong, and it's been a very challenging time for me to transmute that into at least a better feeling place. I can't always get to the love, but there's again a better feeling place, but it's still not where I feel I am the best conduit for myself or the world. Is there any light that you can shed on this for me?
Yes. So, first of all, you can understand that here there is both an inner anger that comes from many limiting beliefs accumulated and developed over a lifetime that are now having the opportunity to surface through the current events. And there's also an outer anger that is the way that these programs and conditions respond to the external stimulus. So in a sense, both the inner and the outer anger are inner anger, yet they manifest from different sources. However, when you change the programs on the inner planes, the way that you perceive the outer situation in turn will change and transform. So the basis of this is in allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling. Feeling itself is healing. And of course, it isn't always pleasant to feel anger, to feel frustration, though there is a deep transmutation process taking place. And in a way, when you feel so much frustration with what is going on out there, it is a very powerful time to shift your focus inside. When you feel rage rising and it is directed, in a sense, towards the collective, allow yourself to take a moment to pause and instead ask yourself the question, when was the very first time I felt this emotion? When was the very first time I felt this way? And that can bring you into memories and experiences that, in a way, were moments when there was a split within you between the conscious self you wish to be and attempt to project into the world, and the unconscious self that is surfacing as these emotions. So you can imagine these emotional states as unconscious mini-me's from the past. And in your own way, or following certain processes of regression work or inner child work or something of that nature, one that appeals to you, or you don't even need one of those structures or formulas when you are free to let your imagination show you these past events. Go back to those moments and meet these past versions of yourself and send them that energy of love and acceptance. Allow them to communicate with you what experiences have brought them to feel defeated by the world, and create new memories so that these scripts can change. Understand that with your imagination, with your will, you can change the timelines of the past, and you can change your inner circuitry to hold more resonant frequencies. And when you allow yourself to learn from these past experiences and change the beliefs that have arisen out of them, you can come into a state of more clear acceptance and non-resistance. Now, when we speak of the outer triggers that bring this to the surface, it is also a matter of shifting your attitude about them. Understand that when we are speaking of healing, we will always see a manifestation of the pain, the confusion, and the chaos getting much, much worse just before it gets better. And this is happening in a larger sense now on your planet. It isn't just 2020, it is this whole decade. So we are preparing you with this now so that you can be open to seeing many cycles of devastation that are opening up the way for a greater clearing to take place afterwards. Just as a storm comes and destroys the branches of some trees or even a building, without the storm, the soil would not have the nutrients to sustain life. There is a storm that is moving through the collective, and it is destroying that which doesn't serve. And there are forces that are losing their power, that wish to maintain their power, and are doing everything they can to take a hook into human consciousness. So, in a way, you decide what is true and what is not. With all of this information out there, what really feels like something you would like to believe about your planet. And when you shift through all of these frames of bits of news and information that come to you and choose the story that feels the most empowering for you, stick with that one. It is as simple as that. And yes, go on.
Thank you. I have, I have rewritten my history, and I think that has a lot to do with this. And I have one more question then. These emotions and these experiences that may have evoked some bad feelings within me deep, would that just be from this lifetime, or am I possibly bringing things up from past lifetimes? Is that relevant in this time? Okay, because that's kind of what I'm feeling.
Yes. So you are actually making many connections to the planetary system of Orion. And you are not the only one doing this, because with all of these forces of control, there is a strong collective parallel bleed through that connects to the Orion system. Now, understand that the degree of oppression that played out in Orion is 10 times stronger than what plays out in your planet. The force of darkness there was much worse. So you must really consider that before you start to open the window to see everything that occurred to your parallel incarnations then. Though in opening up to the Orion timelines and witnessing what occurred, you can actually sever that connection. And there is a great learning that emerges from Orion, and that is one of true non-resistance. Because there was, in Orion, what is known as the Black League, which was a very powerful group of beings that were resisting the multi-planetary level force of control that was close to what you define as evil. We don't see evil as a real concrete concept, though we understand your idea of it. They were evil, and they were oppressing many different planets. And so the Black League used the same technology, the same ideas, the same aggressive behavior to attempt to destroy that government of the Orion system. And because they were fighting darkness with darkness, it only generated more darkness. And from this memory, you can awaken the understanding of what the real solution is true light, true peace. From where you are, understand that when you do not feed the energy of anger, which is a fear-based energy, into the matrix cannot keep operating. Much like in that movie, the machines feed off of the life force of humans. And what these systems really feed off is the negative emotional energy that humans emit. So when you stop feeling the fear and you end this connection with that other lifetime where more fear is generated, the system itself out there will have less energy.
Most awesome. My youngest grandchild his name is Orion.
Well, what a powerful synchronicity.
That actually makes absolute sense. I know.
Wow, that's amazing.
No, what a fabulous. Thank you so much. That really cleared up some things and brought to light so many more things for me to look at. Thank you.
Oh, great love and thanks to you as well.
I want for Ron a great, big, huge, humongous cosmic hug as well.
Oh,
for Ron.
And we return that hug both on our behalf and on behalf of the channel.
Sending love to Ron. Yeah, so thank you, Simone. What an amazing question. And yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so Alex had a question about, could you expand upon the passing of celestial objects such as Comet Atlas, which is slated to pass by Earth near the end of April.
Yes, the comets, in their coming and going, are like celestial messengers that carry forth a certain frequency. And so this comet of Atlas is named after this figure that could hold up the whole world on his shoulders. And in a way, this coming is both an awakening of your true responsibility and a liberation of many of the false layers of responsibility. As many of you have been trained into being responsible in a way that you cooperate with a destructive system that destroys you and destroys others and destroys nature, you are now coming to shift your sense of responsibility to how do I manage my energy in a way that benefits the whole? And when you take out that factor of the survival-based fear that draws you innately to this idea of money again and again, then it will be easier to see where your responsibility begins and where it ends. And this coming comet, as well as they all do, allows for certain frequencies that move through the galaxy as a whole to be carried to you. You must always remember that not only are all the planets moving around the sun is moving through the galaxy itself. And so every time that there is this different planetary conjunction or a new asteroid or something approaches you, there is the phenomena that occurs from being in a different part of space. And understand that in this part of space, millions and years ago, there were different celestial bodies here that in a way left an impression in this corner of space. So there are always these new frequencies that come that are very subtle that you can perhaps tap into if you would like. This is, of course, a time of immense transformation. And this little visit from this comet or asteroid will be a welcome addition to that.
Great, thank you so much. Ocean had a question about how our loved ones, or how the Pleiadians view the virtual connection that we're having, digitally, like over Zoom, as opposed to being together in person. Like, what are the benefits of this virtual connection during this time?
Yes. Well, in a way, it is also awakening you to this understanding that non-local energetic communication is always happening. So we always want you to know, and we are sure we say in so many of these transmissions, that the channel is not special, that each and every one of you has the power to tap into beings like ourselves and allow us to communicate with you. And in a way, relying more on a technology to facilitate long distance communication is a sort of permission slip that's planting the seed in your subconscious that this kind of communication is possible with devices that exist within you. Now, another benefit of this we could see is a deepening into one's own self, is an understanding that you can be wherever you want to be and remain connected to so many people. And that is a powerful gift in your time. You can be, in a way, a global being. The truth of higher realities here is that everything is here and now. It is all occurring right now. Space is an illusion. Time is an illusion. And by more actively connecting with those around the world, you are coming to see that every part of the world beyond you is accessible simply through this little device. Now, of course, many people may fear where technology is going. And we would simply say that there are certain kinks with the electromagnetism of your technology that is not fully beneficial, and therefore you must honor your own body's response. Should your eyes feel tired? Should you be experiencing a lot of anxiety? Should you be feeling any fatigue that seems abnormal in your body with your use of technology? It is a signal to take a break. And this is a kink again. It is something that is being worked out in the system. And it is, of course, something that people have not been conscious of because they have not prioritized people's well-being in considering how they make these technologies. They've considered, first and foremost, their income. And it will change, and technology in the future will be, in a way, bionic, in that it will be able to interact with your biology. It will be able to read your biology and read your emotional energies. There will be an easier interface, and it will not take any strain on your electromagnetic field. At this time, the strain that you are experiencing is part of a way that the forces at work are purging humanity of some old stagnant energies. So they must be worked with and endured for some time, though it will shift, and there will be positive AI and open contact with extraterrestrial life that will, in a way, coincide in your future timelines.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm just asking Alexandria if she can come on live and talk about her son's illness. I'm not hearing from her yet, so I'll ask my question. I have two questions. One is about just the extreme fatigue that I've been going through, and also kind of the radical mutation. I actually feel like parts of my life force are being migrated into another dimension. It's just a very, it's almost like a shamanic deathing of everything I know. I just go deep into the darkness with the beautiful music, and I feel like I'm almost dying and being reborn, and I'm super tired. I just wondered, one, like what exactly is going on, and two, is there a time frame where you see where I'll reach a plateau and be able to harvest all of this incredible integration? Yeah, and yeah, that's my first question. So I guess I'll start there.
In a way, you are being reborn into a more complete level of self-acceptance. So allow that to be the solution. When you can find more and more acceptance of exactly all that you are and all that you have been, there will be a much bigger transformation that solidifies and allows you to walk forward with more integrity, meaning the integrity that creates a stable structure. So,
Right.
in a way, there are many loops of questioning why it may have had to be so challenging, why there has been so many consistent issues. And we simply want to reflect this understanding that no one in your world lives without challenge, for one. And two, when you experience so much persistent challenge, it is because you are there to be a way shower for those who cannot seem to find the way out. And you are now at this point of completion in which
thank you, God.
there is so much self-acceptance that is potential, that is about to sort of seep through, that you won't anymore be able to question why it has been this way or why it is this way, because your higher self's understanding of the divine perfection of the journey to bring you to this point will be complete.
Oh,
now,
beautiful.
you are indeed being pulled out into other realities. And part of this is a retrieval of sort of aspects of your soul that have taken on the sense of defeat that you have felt in other lifetimes. This does connect with Orion and Sirius, and you can allow for those parts of your soul to be retrieved. You may find in some of these more elaborate journeys that you are really brought deep into those memories, and you allow for those soul parts to return. And you can consider this training for being a rebirthing doula.
Cool.
So that is, in a way, one of your roles in the new earth, is to really be there to support others in this process of completely seeing and witnessing their old sense of self and their old identity die in order to be reborn.
So
There will be many, many, many people that will be going through this within the next decade. And so not everyone will be able to hold that space in the way that you will, having gone through the process yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so rewarding to know that I will have a role from all of the incredible adversity. My other question is, can you say something more about my relationship with the channel? I love him very much. I just adore him, and I'd love to know some of our other connections in other lives, parallel
Yes,
to.
there are Pleiadian connections that both of you share together. So in other lifetimes, you have known each other, and in a way, you have been a sort of ambassadors and guides together to support other big processes of collective awakening. And there is a continued love and connection that will grow and emerge. And we are very grateful for your connection with the channel ourselves, as it has and continues to be a source of continued connections rippling out and continued refinement of the channels and your own ability to allow these energies to flow.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I think we have Simone, or not Simone, but Alexandria back to ask us a little more about her son. Would you like to unmute yourself, Alexandria? I can unmute you if you want. I've got you. Are the kids there? Or there she is. Okay, great.
Hi.
Hello, yes.
So I have been having some concerns about my 2-year-old. His name is Taylor. He has been having some seizures. He has had probably about 5 seizures in the last month and a half, and it started as 1, and then 3 weeks later another, and then like a week later, within this last week, he's had 3. And they happen when he wakes up from a nap. Like he spikes a fever, and it's not connected to a virus. He spikes a fever, and then I take the blanket off of him, or he'll wake himself up and he'll start seizing for a couple of probably about 15 seconds. Most of the time I can pull him out of it, whereas the first one he had it for about 5 minutes. So I'm just curious to know if you have any ideas about that. And it's also connected to his lymph node system. So he has swollen lymph nodes that have persisted for maybe about a year, and we've done everything. We've changed his diet. We've done pretty much anything and everything to refine the energy and like what he's consuming and what he's taking in to clean it up. I'm kind of lost for words at this point.
All right. Have you checked your water source?
Yeah, we do have, I buy like spring water.
All right.
Sometimes he does get a hold of like the refrigerator water, which my mom is adamant about as well. So
yes, continue with the spring water, and as we have said, work with the frequency of the water. Now, has he as well seen different doctors or naturopaths?
We're getting ready to, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to maintain. I have 2 other kids too, and they're like, no, what are you doing? Give me just 1 second. 1 second. So I haven't seen, actually, no, I have. I've seen an energy doctor at Cemetery Health,
Yeah.
and she scanned his energy field, and she was the one that told me about the food that he was consuming. And that's where we got the answers about the gluten. The water is like so adamant. I can feel water. I can feel the energy of the water coming up. It's got to be the water then, because I can feel you, and I just keep hearing water, 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 water. My kids are being very crazy right now, and
Yes, that's all right.
I really wanted to get this question through to you.
Oh, yes. We do have some other suggestions. You may want to put some apple cider vinegar in his drinks. You may also want to give him elderberry syrup for some period of time to help with his immune system. Now, there is at the core of this some allergy that will show itself. There is also, again, these parallel life connections that are playing out, though we do want you to rest assured that the solution will find itself, and that he, on higher levels, is simply purging many energies for himself as the soul and for the collective. Though, yes, make sure you find clear sources of water, and there may be other natural remedies that you can find through other means. So you may really want to do an allergy test for him and find out if there are any allergens that are hidden that you have not yet detected.
Okay. And then as far as energy goes, like as I'm speaking of all of this, I'm just going to let it go because I'll clean it all up. But he's like destroying all of my recycling right now and kicking it everywhere. Do you think that that might have anything to do with the other things as well? Like as far as being like naturally destructive and aggressive?
This isn't a very uncommon thing for children of his age, though there is some parallel connection that is playing out through him. And in a way, he does have to learn to control that destructive energy and not let it ripple out in a way that is the same energy that is manifesting through his body itself. So working with it on conscious levels may be helpful.
Great. Is that,
Perfect.
did that answer? Okay. Good luck with that, with your son.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And Hyacinthos, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hi, hi everyone. Hi, I'm so happy to be here with you.
Me as well.
The reason why I felt to connect is because today I've been buzzed with some energies. Yesterday night I was dreaming of one dream the entire night, and I saw myself as an energy healer that I am, trying to protect a number of people. I saw Jesus Christ being by my side, doing things together in a beautiful merging, spiritual merging. And I dealt with some really low energies. Perhaps I had an astral attack but I did manage to stay conscious all across the night throughout this dream that might have not been really a dream. And at the end, my physical body woke me up by chanting Om Kali Ma in a beautiful song that I can't remember now.
All right.
Today, I woke up with this energy disbalance.
Yes.
I have dedicated my entire day to send love and light to all earth, to myself as well, cleanse my energy, connect to the spirit, and I still have this anxiety, as if there is some energy which is buzzing around my head, and my mind cannot get into any ease on what I anticipate will happen in the world and what I can do in advance to help the divine light manifest through myself as well.
So
I would so much appreciate any insight. Thank you.
So as we interpret your energy now, we see that you are taking on some of the collective burden. So energy responds to your intention, and you are very beautifully and courageously intending to support the collective in this process. However, in doing so, in the specific way that you have framed this vibrationally, you are in a way inviting more of that collective energy to infiltrate your system. So the way that you can actually serve the best is by teaching others how to embody the energy of unconditional love, the energy of unconditional acceptance, the energy of true courageousness that follows passion and follows love despite whatever fear may be present. Now, instead of fully embodying a role of teaching, you have set yourself up to protect. But in choosing to protect, you invite attack. You allow for those negative forces to, instead of going out to other targets, come to you. And of course, your subconscious has tapped into the energy of Kali as a force of great protection who will slay that outer negativity. Though in a way, Kali also comes to slay a sense of spiritual ego that seeks to protect or do the work for others. And this is why, again, we're going to elaborate on this concept of being a teacher rather than a healer in this case. You are, of course, helping people heal themselves. You cannot do the work for them. And whenever there's a subtle attitude of being the one to remove the burden, protect them from the negativity, or fight off those dark forces, you invite those same forces to cripple you energetically. And the fear, the anxiety, is a symptom of that. So what if instead everyone was on their own journey? What if instead there was a storm coming to your planet and everyone is in a way doing the best they can to take shelter? If you instead go out while the storm is dawning and make sure everyone's okay, you might find yourself in the middle of the plains when the storm hits with nothing to keep you safe. And that is the sign you are getting now. So energetically, when you focus on your own sense of balance, you communicate that unconsciously to those around you. When you are aligned and centered in yourself, other people are being offered an example of how to emulate that energy. So our advice to you is actually to take a break for several days. Simply focus on creating a sanctuary of peace and restfulness for yourself. And as you return to serving others, see yourself as a teacher, not a healer, so that you can show them how to heal themselves and how to free themselves from any of these collective issues. And when it comes to the ideas of all of the strife and struggle that is coming to your world, we encourage you to not feed too much attention into it. Bring your attention back to here and now and what you can do with what you have, and you will thrive more. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Can I ask for a clarification on?
Yes.
Thank you very much about people. That's absolutely what I need to do. It is true that perhaps I was taking an overprotective role, which now it makes sense to me. And thank you very much for opening this consciousness to me.
Yes.
About the plants and the animals that are still vulnerable on Earth. Do you think that I should keep acting protectively and doing the same rituals, but perhaps not for people, but for more vulnerable beings like animals and trees and plants that are being burnt or being tortured?
Again, there's a subtle shift in these offerings, because again, when you are doing meditations or rituals, you are working at this more subtle level that is, of course, very helpful, though you must always remember that as physical beings, the language of your physical reality is actions, and the actions you take are most powerful. So in a way, understanding that is also surrendering the sense of how much you can do on these other spiritual levels. There is something you can do, though again, you must understand that energy is never destroyed. And there is a degree of detachment that is hindering you when you are making these prayers. There is a degree of feeling as if when these animals and plants die, their energy is lost, but that energy moves on. That energy continues to exist at other levels, and the earth itself is aware of what is happening. There is a natural force of justice, of balance, that when one simply steps back and allows things to be as they are, nature will correct itself. And so you must not buy into this human conditioned thought that we have destroyed nature and nature has no control anymore, because nature knows so much better than you. And you will find in the coming years that, yes, of course, you must dismantle all of the metallic and destructive and polluting technologies on your planet. But even beyond and without that, nature has a way of correcting itself. So do not doubt in nature.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks and love to you.
Thank you so much, Hyacinthos. It was nice to meet you here on Zoom. It looks like Alexandria has another question. Alexandria, would you like to ask your question now? You back? I'll unmute you. Oh, maybe she's unable to unmute.
Yes, no, I'm
there
here.
She is. Okay.
So this has to do with, I'm assuming it is just karmic cycles that I'm breaking up. I have 3 different kids from 3 different fathers, and my youngest is 7 months, and I was sure that his father was the one that I would end up being with and staying with, and somehow or another we ended up having to break up, and I sent him away from us just because he was going through some super deep purges that he wasn't fully breaking through, and it was affecting and rippling out onto all of us. And I love him. I send all the love with him. there was a moment where I thought he was going to come back, and he had made a commitment to come back to just maybe pick up some things and visit his son. And I haven't heard from him since. And I know this is all physical plane stuff, but I just feel pretty lost about the whole thing. I don't specifically want him to come back. I just hope that he's okay where he is. And he hasn't communicated with anybody, or it's been a couple of weeks since.
All right. We do see him as going through a very deep healing process. And again, we want you to trust in that process, to trust, again, that not everything that seems to get worse is going to end in a horrible way, that people must go through the storm. They must go through a great darkening before the truest light emerges. So this time, in a way, for him is this dark night of the soul that many are going through. So continue to send your love at higher levels, continue to reach out, continue to bring yourself to connect with him in the ways that you can, and also relax into trust that this is a cycle in a greater process that you don't have control of.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Well, thank you, everyone. Is there anyone else who has a question at this time? I think we'll probably be closing pretty soon. If not, just reminding everyone that you can donate through email dante.filippini@gmail.com via friends and family. I'll just put that in there, dante.filippini@gmail.com through PayPal, friends and family. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything, all the information that you've given us today, Pleiadian Council, and thank you to everyone who was here with us. And we're going to be doing this weekly, so share with your friends and let people know. I think it's a very valuable resource during this time of great transformation. So thank you so much, and we will say goodbye to you for now, Pleiadian Council.
Yes, and we will close with one simple final message. That is, again, for all of you to return to this idea of oneness as much as you can. Oneness must mean that you are also one with forces that appear dark and forces that appear threatening. Oneness must mean that you are built of the same energy. And so when there is great fear emerging, allow yourself to see the fragment of light that remains within the perceived other. Allow yourself to hold a space of compassion, understanding that all of the forces of darkness out there are built upon fear. Those who seek to conspire to harm others for their own benefit are the most afraid of everyone. They are afraid of being less than. They are afraid of their own union with Source that is innate. And when you can see your union with Source, and by extension see everyone else's union and perfect connection with Source as one, those same forces lose their power because they are built and based upon fear. When you feed fear into your concern for what is going to occur on your planet, you strengthen those forces. And when you have a level of unconditional acceptance, you allow those forces to lose their power and lose their strength. We will say again, here the light is what unifies. It brings everyone and everything together. It shows you, you are one. And the darkness, or more specifically the negativity, because not all darkness is negative. The negativity divides. And so many people think that there is only one conspiracy that they define with some name. And really, we want you to know there are so many. And actually, many of the forces that you assume are together are fighting each other. And when you give your attention to them, you actually give strength to them. And again, it is as simple as withdrawing your attention and focusing on the change that you can bring. When you do this, you will all open yourselves up to the greatest degree of connection with others that you can experience. And connection is the essence of well-being. When you feel connected to another person, you allow that unconditional love of source to flow through you. And when you connect with people that you can really trust, you amplify that flow of unconditional love. When there is disease in the body, there is a part of you that feels disconnected from the whole. So in connecting with it and in connecting with the pain, healing takes place. When you are feeling alone and feeling worried about what is happening, you must simply affirm to you the reality that you are connected in the closest way that you can. And your passion will grow even greater when you can naturally highlight all of the connections that exist for you. Always remember that what you are seeing is a mirror reflection of your own inner reality. It is mirroring to you what you must accept within yourself, and it is often mirroring to you where you are enabling others to take your energy. So we say this both because oftentimes many of you are focusing too much on this idea that only you are being reflected something that is distorted within you. And truthfully, many times the distortion is that you give your power away to others, that you see others as more connected than you, that you simply think you must tolerate certain things rather than speaking up your own authentic truth. There are many reasons why you attract and create the experience that you do, and you must choose to refine your perception and choose to highlight the connection that you feel. In doing so, all of those filters, all of those beliefs, all of those experiences that make your perception what it is will be cleansed. And as has been said in your world, when the doors of perception are cleansed, you will see everything perfectly in its great majesty. So we hope this helps you. And we love you very much. And know again, the channel is not special. We are with all of you. You may have felt our frequency moving through your body. You may have felt our frequency as a sort of presence around you. And know that you can call this presence forth if you are aware of the way you are feeling or have felt in that connection. Remember that feeling when you want to open up to your own greater wisdom, your own higher self, and allow your invitation to emit, and allow yourself to receive this love. And it will translate in your system in your own unique way. And know that however you feel it, however it is received, is the perfect way for you to meet your guides at that time. So we will continue to be with all of you. And we wish you, again, a very pleasant rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Hi, Dante.
Hello there.
Hello. Thank you. That was beautiful
you.
as usual.
Oh, I'm grateful to hear that.
Okay.
Who is all here?
We had a lot of people. We had some people have gone, but let's see.
Yeah.
Huawei, Alex, Alexandria, Simone, Ocean, Lorraine, Denise,
Wow,
Julie,
amazing.
Hyacinthos. Yeah,
Lovely.
about 16 of us, I think we had.
Cool.
Frank was here too.
How are you guys feeling?
Good.
Good.
Better.
Better. Yay.
Grounded and full of love, full of like my heart chakra and my solar plexus are like vibrating.
Yeah. So happy to hear that. So happy for
Yeah,
this frequency to get out there.
it was a good
Beautiful.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
fun for me too.
are we next Tuesday again, Dante? Is it?
I think it's on Tuesday. It's on the day of the full moon. I'm pretty sure it's still a Tuesday. But then I actually like hit the scheduling thing on the event for every like full new quarter moon for the rest of the year. So we'll see if that continues to work. But
Cool.
yeah. And yeah, if you guys want to contribute anything, the PayPal and Venmo are there. I also just have Cash App. And I'm doing still the discounts on one-to-one sessions, 3 sessions for the price of 2. But I'm definitely open to doing different agreements or negotiations during this time that just suits people where they're at and allows everyone to participate. So if anyone's interested, I'm available. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I really would appreciate that. We're almost at 1,000. It's like 800. It's increasing.
Wow,
Feeling
awesome.
lovely.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love this platform, by the way. This is a great platform.
Yeah,
I
it's
use
amazing.
it daily studying Kabbalah. I use it daily with
Wow.
Infight and other people now are using this like just randomly to
Yeah.
communicate with others. So I think
Families
it's
and
awesome.
everything. Yep.
Yeah, it's
So
fabulous. Thank you.
it's great. How is it there in Zipolite?
Hot.
Hot? Okay. Wow. Are the regulations still kind of intense?
Just, you know,